I'm caveman Matt, apparently, assuming all gamers are guys.
Man, it's okay. I don't know if I should say that either, but... Hi everyone, I'm Justin.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to Game On. We are a show mostly about RPGs. But, we talk about other tabletop stuff too sometimes. Matt, we have a question here.
Okay, I'm ready.
From a subscriber.
Hit me.
What would the RPG world look like if D&D never existed?
Oh, man. Short answer, I'm not sure it would exist either if D&D hadn't. That's how sort of foundational the, RPG that everybody knows. Yes. Was. There were a few others sort of middling around in the early days. Steve Jackson Games was around. I remember a little pamphlet of Car Wars, and there was an adaptation of The Hobbit RPG based on the animated version of The Hobbit that was done in the sort of late 70s or mid to late 70s. I'm going to say 76 or 77 was when that came out. So that was a couple years after D&D, and I'm sure the RPG was inspired by the early success of D&D. I think there probably might be some war games or things like that, and maybe some sports. There were some statistical sports-related games that weren't really role-playing, but they were tabletop resolution of sporting events. My dad had this game called At-Bob Baseball that was basically stacks of numbers, and you rolled dice to figure out who won the baseball game. So in some ways, it has some elements similar to RPGs, but there's no actual story element other than the game. So but I just feel like the RPGs as we know it, I don't think would exist I
have a hard time with this because I in my head, I guess the way you said it is as I know it or as we know it, because I feel like somebody would eventually have come up with like the idea, but I think what we're talking about here with D&D just kind of being the mainstream one.
Yeah.
And I posed a question not too long, or when we were talking about this, about whether the resurgence of D&D, if that didn't happen, if the RPG world would look the same.
Oh, you mean would the reinvention of the RPG have happened? Yay. Again, I say a less strident no. Like, I think that the economics of RPGs crashed.
Yeah.
Right? In the, let's call it the late 90s, early 2000s, things really hit the skids. And a lot of gaming companies went under, and the old way of doing games, which was low buck, relatively low production value relative to what we see today, at least, but inexpensive and geared towards younger players. Mm-hmm. So you had to keep the prices down in order to make it viable.
Yeah.
And I think that as players who grew up on RPGs got older, they, for whatever reason, the market just kind of, people migrated away, and there weren't as many new players to replace the old players who were aging out. And it kind of, it was on the rocks for a while.
Yeah, I wonder if the rise in popularity of games like RuneScape and World of Warcraft kind of took some of the market away.
I do think that, but that kind of goes back to the original question was, would video games have been what they became if it wasn't for D&D? Yeah. Because a lot of those narrative fantasy video games were basically just computerized versions of D&D, and some of them literally were computerized versions of D&D, right? So had D&D not been there to sort of create the mold, I don't know that even the video game world would have been the same. But as far as when it came back, we've talked about how, Wizards had Magic, and then they had D&D in it, and the profit of Magic kind of subsidized the reboot of D&D, and obviously when Hasbro money came in.
Yeah.
But so what they did was they created much higher production value books the second time around, right? Okay. With much bigger price points and probably bigger profit margins. And they reinvented the gaming world to cater to older gamers with more money. The nostalgia factor, right? Hey, aren't these books much nicer? Aren't they cooler? Aren't they something that you want to have as a sort of grown-up, more sophisticated consumer? And so people who were used to, in the old days, paying $15 or $20 for a black and white, pulp paper RPG, soft-sided, stapled, saddle-stapled bindings, are now paying for hardcover, glossy pages, perfect bound, like a real book. And that let a bunch of other gaming companies know, hey, wait, there might be money in this. And if we follow this mold instead of doing what we did before with oversaturating the market with cheap, lower quality stuff that ended up sitting on shelves and going into the bargain bin. And now we see a renaissance of RPGs. Look at all these books. Most of these books have been printed in the last 10 to 15 years, right? Yeah. I mean, you have some classic stuff up here, but a lot of that's new. And a lot of it's nice production quality.
Yeah.
And I think you can thank D&D for that, too. Just like you can thank them for the original boom of RPGs.
Yeah, I will say this. I can't believe I'm going to give them credit for something.
Oh, just, look, we give them grief when they deserve it. They should get the credit when they deserve it. Look, they really were the ones that made this economically viable and made it desirable for a lot of people. They are the gateway drug to RPGs for the vast majority of players. And
I think them coming back in the 2014, 2015 era, is that when it dropped? Something like that.
A little earlier, but yeah, it's kind of in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once it came back, now we have shows like Critical Role and stuff, and it's in the lexicon of everybody. You say there's people out there. There was somebody out there who was wearing a Hellfire Club shirt, and I'm like, oh, do you like D&D? And she's like, what's that?
Yeah.
So I mean, at least she's wearing a D20 shirt.
But old comic book geeks like me remember the Hellfire Club from the X-Men, and that was a generation earlier too. But no, but look, it has infiltrated the larger culture, and I think we've talked in the past in other videos about the change in perception that there's geek chic is a thing. Yeah. It's for people to be proud of their geekdom, they're being otaku. It's okay now. It's actually a point of pride for some people, and it's not universally scorned like it used to be.
Yeah.
And if somebody, goes, oh, well, you're a geek, and everybody in the room kind of looks at them like they just, made some racial slur or something. It's not okay anymore to try and shame people that way. And that's a great thing. And that has allowed people to embrace these geeky hobbies that we all love so much and be cool with it and be proud about it and actively seek others. You didn't have to whisper in quiet tones, oh, hey, are you into RPGs? Now you can say it out loud. You can wear a t-shirt that says you're into it. You can start a club at school and not worry about somebody giving you a wedgie.
Or thinking that you're a Satan worshiper.
Oh, yeah, that whole...
That's another can of worms.
Right, which was especially ridiculous. But, okay, I guess if you looked at the picture of some, demon monster from D&D and extrapolated out some whole, religious mythos based on that, whatever.
People are going to be stupid no matter what. So
yes, in fact. And some of them are proud. That's the next manifestation after geek chic. There's moron chic. Yeah. People are proud of being stupid.
Yeah.
We still make fun of those people. Anyway, yeah, no, I give it to D&D. Would RPGs exist without D&D? Maybe in some form, but I think it would be unrecognizable to what we know and love today. Yeah, frankly.
Cool.
Well, does that answer your guys' question, or the guy's question who questioned us?
You assumed it was a guy.
Fair enough.
2025.
Fair enough. They, whoever they may be, whoever they are, and however they perceive themselves, is totally cool. And yeah, I should not have made that assumption.
No, it's okay.
Although statistically,
I'm trying to remember who it was actually. You asked us
okay.
That. Anyway, somebody in our Discord.
Right.
So anyway, my name is Justin. Thank you guys very much for watching.
And I'm Caveman Matt, apparently, assuming all gamers are guys.
It's okay. I don't know if I should say that either, but thank you guys very much for watching, and we hope that you hit the like button, or hit the dislike button, or subscribe, or please subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, don't hit the dislike button just because I made the faux pas about the, guys being gamers. No. Tell us whether you like the content by thumbs up and thumbs down, and that will let us know whether we're on the right track and can give you more of what you want.
Thanks, guys. We'll come back with another video soon.
We promise.
Game on.
Game on.